Hello everybody, this is Jimmy Faulkner from the shop. What the lesson plan here today real quick is the diesel exhaust fluid that's going to be added to the station supplies. Right now the way that you guys get your DEF is the first alarm companies have to leave their district and come down to Dolphin Road at any hour of the day and night, and the DEF is usually pumped into the units by the station personnel, or one of the maintenance guys is there and they'll assist you. It's usually stored in that 55-gallon drum with an electric pump, and sometimes it's hard to get out of the building. The new plan is we're going to take these 2.5-gallon plastic containers and issue a group of DEF bottles to the station, kind of equivalent to 2 full fillings of DEF on all of the apparatus, to include the major apparatus, the engines, the aerials, and the rescues. The only requirement that you have for the DEF in the stations is don't put it anywhere where it's in direct sunlight. It's UV sensitive, so probably a closet someplace where it can be out of the sunlight is the best place to find it to store it in your stations. The DEF containers have a funnel attached to the bottle and it's hidden underneath the label. So if you pull the label down, you can detach the funnel, take the cap off, and put the funnel onto the bottle and fill your DEF containers with a 2.5-gallon container. The plastic jar has a yes and a no on it, which basically mimics the side of the ambulance. The left rear wheel has a DEF fill in the front side and a diesel full in the back side. You want to be sure that you do not put DEF in the diesel. If you do put DEF in the diesel, immediately shut it off and don't run the unit. It must be towed or severe engine damage can occur. You need to be real careful when you're working on the BC units, the 780s, the deputies units, and all of the 4-door Fords that the EMS has. It's real easy to get them confused. It's real easy to put the DEF in the diesel tank, and they're actually reversed to what the warning label is on the plastic bottle. The new 2017 ambulances have a very large indicator in the center of the dash that will tell you the status of the DEF and give you the level of the DEF. The diesel exhaust fluid will tell you that the level is okay, and you could either look at that or you could look at a gauge and it will tell you when it's getting close to empty. On the 2016 or older units, when you see this warning when it's under half full, it's really a good time to refill it from your station supplies, or if you're close to Dolphin, you can top off down here. You also want to be aware of what your PM schedule is, and that will be on a label that's on your windshields. Try to not run these units past half full, even though you think you have time. If you run the unit too long without DEF or regenning, you can have some real expensive repairs and some real costly downtime for us on the DPF. The DPF is a diesel particulate filter that used to be called the muffler, and this is where all of the carbon is caught and the actual scrubbing with the DEF takes place. What this does is it causes back pressure on the turbocharger. It blows the hoses off and pretty well puts the rescue out of service for 5 to 6 days to complete repairs. When you have the 5 to 300 mile warning, you're probably going to want to make sure that you start to fill, because on a lot of the rescues, we all know they're running a lot, and 5 to 300 miles in some cases is 3 to 4 runs for you guys. So when you have a problem and you need it before the unit goes down and depowers itself, which means it's going to give you less horsepower and run just barely above 20 miles an hour, you'll want to notify the shop and again look at that PM sticker. It's probably best to swap it out before we have a problem with it and get you guys serviced in the proper intervals. On your heavy apparatus, use the DEF rule, the same as the fuel rule, where you don't want your diesel tank to be below a half a tank. Try to maintain your DEF above a half a tank as well. On the newer units, you have some gauges, and on the older units, you have 4 green bars, pretty similar to the old water level indicators. 2 bars is half full, 3 bars is 3/4, 4 green bars is full. The DEF tank fill is in the left rear door, underneath the door where the old batteries used to be. A little twist lock, you can open it up, a blue cap, and you can put it in there. The large diesel fuel tank filler nozzles will not fit in there, and there's a reason for that. It's not a good idea to mix your fuels, and the funnels can fit inside there. They're smaller, and you can fill your DEF tanks from this location. When the door is secured, this is what it looks like when you first open up the door when you're looking for the place to fill your DEF. When you guys need a refill And again, your initial delivery should be the quantity of enough DEF for all of the units in the station using DEF to have 2 full doses of DEF. When you get to the half mark, call 8915 just as if you would for oxygen resupply and let them know, and it'll go on your station deliveries. If you gotta have DEF, there's not going to be any deliveries off of the call trucks. If you have to have DEF and you run below your half mark, you'll probably have to come down to Dolphin and top off. Guys, the whole idea is this: to keep you in your first alarm district. We've had many stories about the companies that have had to make the midnight trip because they went down to quarter tank of DEF and caught a few calls on the way back to district and still didn't have a full DEF tank when they got back. And again, the main concern here is that we keep our companies close to their first alarm district and they're not running all over town at all hours of the night just to fill ourselves up with DEF. Guys, if you have any questions, the backline number for my office is 8923. You can contact me at any time, and most of y'all have my cell number. If there's a problem, give me a call. Anybody that has any ideas that could make the system better, we're always open to suggestions. You guys be safe out there, be careful, and don't scratch the paint.